We're here with Ray Bottles of Grafton, Ohio. Ray, you worked for the railroad a long time. How long have you worked for which railroad and how long?
Well, I worked for the New York Central 9 and I worked for Penn Central 8, Consolidated Railroad 23, and I worked for the CSX 10. I had 51 years.
And one of the sad things, you knew a fellow who was an engineer on one of the trains. And where are we right now?
We're at in Lorain County at Murray Ridge Road in Elyria. And
what happened here 55 years ago on the 20th of May?
20th of May, 1956. My friend Louis Kroll was on the pacemaker and he was coming out of Toledo. And the Edwards and Martin family was coming from the north, disoriented. And by the way, there were 4 tracks here. There were track 3, track 1, track 2, and track 4. And Louis was on track 2, and there was no flashers and gates here. And the Martin Edwards family drove into the path of the passenger train, and Louis hit him at 75 miles an hour, and the impact killed all 8 people.
Who was in that car? What kind of car was it?
It was a brand new 1956 Olds. They were from Portage Lakes, kind of disoriented. They came from a church in Elyria, and they were trying to get over in the turnpike. Turnpike was built, what I know in Toledo was built like in 53, 54, might have been 55, and evidently they're trying to get over the turnpike and got disoriented. And Louis was coming from the west, and he hit the car. Mr. Martin was probably on the other side. He was on the east side, and they struck the automobile and drug the automobile down way beyond the overpass down near the General Motors plant.
So the driver, obviously, it would have hit on the passenger side of the station wagon.
Yeah, it hit the 1956 Olds on the passenger side. He was over on the east side. He would have never saw the train.
Describe your friend Louis Kroll and what kind of guy he was.
Just a super nice guy. Just, you know, and this really bothered Louis. When I worked with him occasionally, I worked with him about 25 years. When I worked with him occasionally, he would have the clipping in his wallet, and he'd pull the clipping out, and he would show me the clipping. He said, "You know, Ray, I hit 8 people here and killed them." And then I would, you know, maybe a couple months later would go by, and I'd work him occasionally, and he'd pull the clipping out again and show. And I thought, well, you know, like Louis had told me that like a couple months ago, but evidently this really affected him mentally. What a super nice guy. I never seen the guy angry, and he was the wrong guy to hit, you know, like to hit those people, because it affected him mentally.
Well, and before this accident of 8, there were a couple more fatalities here, correct?
Yes, there was. Yeah, there was a couple fatalities here at this crossing, and then when the Martin Edwards family was struck, it forced the New York Central system to put up flashers and gates. But I think these are brand new flashers and gates. It seemed like the older flashers and gates, they had like a box in here, and this is safe. It's a safe train system. It's a different system, and they have bigger flashers, and they I don't know who took them out either.
But your point is that eventually got a system of gates installed here at this. Yes. After 10 people lost their lives at this crossing.
Yes, and I was saying something to Cindy. I said possibly those 8 people, or the 6 people, and the mother and father and the 4 children, possibly that might be a record for like Ohio, like you know, most people lost in one family.
Now, when you want to be a railroad engineer, among many other things, but what's something that happens to you statistically when you're a railroad engineer? What can you expect in your career?
You know, you can expect something like this. not very pleasant. I mean, I've worked with a lot of railroad engineers and conductors, and it's not very pleasant. I've never had an engineer go out and say, "Hey, I can't wait to get out there and hit somebody in the car." If anything, they get upset, especially really close calls. They say a lot of nasty words, a lot of profanity.
So if you're a motorist and you're coming to a crossing, what recommendation
I think
would you give to
like
them?
this guy is doing right here. I mean, don't exactly rely on the flashes and gates. Don't be complacent. I think you ought to just slow down and kind of slow down and kind of look and listen. That could very well save your life.